From natural disasters,
Hurricane Debby wreaking havoc across the coast.
A tough weekend for firefighters across the West.
To political turmoil.
Former President Trump was just in the middle of a speech. Shots were fired.
And a worldwide pandemic.
Fast-breaking developments in the coronavirus emergency.
Many in the United States are taking matters into their own hands.
If there's a bad pandemic tomorrow, H5N1, if the grid goes down, if there's a New Madrid earthquake and supply chains are gone and police can't handle all the looting and the law and order breaks down, whatever the disaster that happens, I'm going to be okay.
Once a fringe movement, prepping has gone mainstream.
All the shots would have done damage.
With companies capitalizing on a chaotic moment in history.
Prepping is a new word for old ways.
As wars, both current and future, loom in the people's minds, and with a highly politicized election on the horizon, is prepping for a doomsday scenario a logical response to turbulent times, or is it making money from a culture of fear? I'm about an hour outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. It's an area of the United States that is particularly politically polarized. There's a movement that's always been on the fringes of American society, but it's growing fast. I'm here to meet some people who can tell me more about this way of life they call prepping. I think in the US, there's a stereotype for preppers. They're often grouped in with conspiracy theorists and people who think that the world is going to end. It's kind of paranoid folks. We've seen a lot of increase in people who are trying to get supplies in case they can't go to the store, in case running water runs out. But I think that there's a stereotype of preppers. So it will be interesting to see what this guy is like. That must be it. When the pandemic hit, Johnny Odom decided to turn his passion for prepping into a business. His store, appropriately named Prep and Ready, stocks everything that will come in useful if disaster strikes. You must be Johnny.
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Nathan. Thanks for having us. Good to meet you.
Oh, good to meet you. This is my wife, Melinda.
Recent research shows that roughly 1/3 of the U.S. adult population now identifies as preppers.
Excuse me, thank you.
Thank you.
We sell the Harvest Right freeze dryers. They've been around forever. We always like to Harvest Right. I mean, you go with the ones that's done it for a long time. So we sell some of their products.
What would something like this cost?
But we sell more of the medium-sized freeze dryer than anything else because it's the best fit for home. It's right around $3,000 to get going, but once you buy the freeze dryer, it comes with everything. The freeze dryer, the vacuum pump, the trays, bags, oxygen absorbers, the sealer. So as soon as you unbox it, you can plug it up and start freeze drying stuff ready to go.
Hey, how y'all doing?
So, do you guys consider yourselves preppers?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. But I've been a prepper all my life. My grandmother always canned and stored her food for the next season because they didn't know if they'd raised enough or whatever. So.
What do you think is the public perception of preppers?
Weird?
Sometimes
Personal.
weird, but why not take the opportunity to prepare for yourself and your family or your friends? I mean, you're talking about survival.
If you knew that the next door neighbor, even if you never considered hurting anybody or stealing a thing, if you knew that your family was going to do without, you'd go shoot somebody, hurt somebody, or steal to feed your kids and your family.
It's survival.
That's just reality of it.
The number of preppers globally is around 20 million. Much of the growth of that movement has been in the United States. Politics play a big part. People say that their sense of insecurity was heightened by Donald Trump's 2016 election.
This is becoming violent.
And the COVID-19 pandemic and the 2020 racial justice protests have also played a part in this growing sense of fear.
Now, of course, fear isn't always a bad thing, but we see a lot of fear with preppers.
Dr. Todd Grande studies mental health, human behavior, and personality theory, including the culture of prepping.
They tend to see signals of doom where they don't exist, right? So some things certainly could signal an apocalypse or a risk of one, but other things don't. But they tend to see a lot of things signaling the end of civilization. They're significantly more likely to believe in conspiracy theories, so they tend to distrust authority. A lot of the conspiracy theories are related to the government, like they distrust the federal government, the CDC, the FDA, and many of them tend to be against vaccinations.
Are you guys concerned at all about civil unrest leading up to the election in the United States?
I expect something major to happen before the election if there is an election. So it's kind of a bonus if you're prepared and you're ready if you get COVID and you can't go to the store, if the grocery store closes down, or if, something happens, you're still prepared.
Just go straight up over the head?
Yeah.
All right. So what makes a good plate carrier or bulletproof vest? What should people be looking for when they're buying these for themselves?
You have different plate ratings, level 1, level 2, level 3. So we carry the level 3, which is almost the highest. It stops most of your average rounds, like the AR-15, the AK-47, some small caliber sniper rifle rounds like that. You get up to the higher levels, then you're carrying really big, thick plates.
So is this the type of thing that you sell a lot of compared to the dry food, or?
No, we don't sell this as much as we do the freeze-dried foods, but we do sell quite a few of them.
Are you selling more of these right now than you have in the past?
We sell more of these when something happens.
After spending a day at the store, I've come to meet Johnny and his family at their home. This must be it.
This is Chase.
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 You have 3 dogs and stuff?
Yes.
It's clear to me that this is more than just a business venture for him.
Prepping is a new word for old ways. Back in the day, grandma, grandpa always butchered their own cattle, hung their own meat. Grandma always canned all the food, and all that was prepping. That was, they did raise their gardens, raise their chickens and cattle and stuff to save it for winter times and stuff like that. So we've always been preppers, but the prepper word has just been recently used. So for us, just we're putting things up for hard times, no matter what it might be, whether it's just a hurricane or some kind of disaster happens, all the way up to if there's like a civil war or any kind of unrest that may come.
But not everyone in his family is convinced.
He's been more doing it for 15 years. I would help some, but I kind of thought he was paranoid, and I didn't buy into it a whole lot. And then COVID came, and there was a lot of pressure at work for vaccinations, and I thought I was going to lose my job over it, and that opened my eyes. Opened my eyes big time. Something wasn't right. I'm kind of learning the medical side of things. I don't want to sew anybody up and that sort of thing. But as I showed you out in the garden, I'm trying to learn about herbs and how they heal us and how they make us better. And that's one of the things that I'm really interested in, is the herbal side of it. Then I would hope that what I learned with the knowledge about herbs and that sort of thing would be beneficial.
We decided to open up a store after COVID. When COVID hit,
a lot of our friends and stuff that knew that we put a few things up, they come to us asking questions. You know, COVID really hit us hard. So they were like, hey, you know, this could be serious, this could be the big one or whatever, you know, what do we do, how do we get started? And we were sharing our knowledge and stuff, and I was thinking about it, and it hit me one day, and I was talking to my wife, and we sat down and prayed about opening up a store. If we opened up a store, then we could really help more people. Every day I'm thinking about prepping, but I don't let it ruin my life. I don't let it run my life. I mean, we go on vacations. I come outside, we ride dirt bikes with the kids. I mean, we live our life. We live in the moment, and we're preparing for tomorrow.
Prepping has become big business, and it's appealing to everyone, particularly those who can afford to be ready for the end of the world. I've heard about a newly established country club in Texas, run by preppers, for preppers, so I'm keen to find out more. We weren't given the location of this camp until after we had arrived in Texas. We were told to buy food, supplies, and then head west. Fortitude Ranch is completely off the grid, so we won't have access to any modern amenities. Fortunately, we have access to a Walmart supercenter where we can buy everything we need to prep for the end of the world. Baked beans with bacon. Best if used by March 19th, 2026. We're cooking for 3 people, right? Do we think the end of the world is going to happen before 2026? I just received a text message from Fortitude Ranch. It had a GPS location on where I'm supposed to meet them. But it also said that the ranch manager, Dustin, has been injured in some way. They told me to be prepared to roll up my sleeves and get my hands dirty to help keep the camp running while I'm there. Assuming I don't get lost out here in West Texas, I should be arriving at Fortitude Ranch sometime soon.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm Drew Miller, CEO and founder of Fortitude Ranch.
The Fortitude Ranch is set up like a country club. Members pay per year, and if something happens and their regular homes become unlivable, they can move to the self-sustaining ranch at Fortitude. Room choices range from the very basic up to the more expensive.
Full-size kitchen.
Which come with a private toilet and sink.
Anyway, our staff's always armed here, and we encourage members to be as well, so I'd like to lend you a 9mm pistol for the duration of your visit.
Okay, it's loaded?
It is loaded, none in the chamber, of course, but yeah, I see you're gun familiar, so you're gonna check that to confirm. That's good to do.
All right, get this holstered on here. Everyone up here carries guns?
All our staff do, and we encourage our members to when they visit. And if there's a collapse going on, yeah, you have to be armed at all times when you're outside, because one, there could be a marauder attack at any time. So just to deter an attack, yeah, we require all our members to be armed outside during a collapse. So it's just a good habit to be in.
Texas is an open carry state with no need for a license to buy or handle a gun. Something that is immediately clear at the ranch.
This will stop a bullet. Typical framed house, bullets are going to go right through that, so these stop bullets.
The ranches are equipped for all eventualities. Greenhouses, animal pens, underground bunkers, and a lookout tower.
We want underground protection for radiation fallout, plus it's a cool place to sleep and store our food.
What kind of food have you guys stockpiled here in preparation for end of the world scenario?
Some of this is kind of fun stuff, some different variety of stuff. So, Ghirardelli, triple chocolate, brownie mix. We've got some of those. Won't have it often, but we'll have some of that. Of course, a lot of canned fruit. We have fruit trees here as well, but a lot of canned fruit. Some freeze-dried stuff. And these are SOS emergency food bars. They're most normally used on ships, because it's a hard bar, a lot of calories, huge shelf life. This thing will last for decades. So it's not the most tasty thing in the world, but we call this kind of our end days food. We would probably use this last, but survival in a collapse depends on protecting your ground on the surface.
One of the main themes here at Fortitude Ranch is guns, and making sure that there is a stockpile of ammunition in case of an attack.
The most important weapons, two weapons for people to consider for collapse defense is first of all, and probably best, is an AR-15. And unfortunately, these are the weapons that a lot of Democratic politicians want to ban. And it's not just the weapon, you need to have the high capacity magazines with a lot of rounds in them. Because again, I got 30 people coming at me, I need 30 rounds, I need more than that. But you can't, these are illegal in the state of Colorado. And California and many, many places want to ban these weapons, ban high capacity clips, to basically make yourself a sitting duck. You've got to have these, and the reason you need military capable weapons in a collapse is you've got marauder groups. That's the threat.
Dustin Glimmer is the ranch manager here in Texas. He's a former military man.
How you doing? Hey, not too bad.
See you again.
Yep, nice.
And has moved here to live full-time with his wife, Vicky.
Sounds good to me.
Dustin wants to teach me how to defend myself.
Before we fire off any rounds, it's always good to go over the weapon safety rules. So never point the weapon at anything you do not intend to shoot. So go ahead and grab the rifle.
Let's give it a
yes,
shot.
Sir.
What I've noticed during my time with preppers is that they don't question whether a catastrophe is coming, they feel certain that it is. And I wonder why more and more of society feels that we are living with a doomsday in clear sight.
So my name's Vicki Giltner. We came here because this is where God led us, first of all. I have 4 kids, a son, 3 daughters, and 8 grandchildren.
How do they feel about the prepper lifestyle?
Their generation really doesn't look into that. My kids, at least, aren't really too excited about prepping.
You said that in a collapse scenario, like survival would be so strict and it would be so difficult that like your kids who aren't members would get turned away.
Yeah.
I think some people would hear that and say that sounds pretty harsh.
Isn't it? Yeah. But at the same time, while we have offered them this place, it's their decision. They're grown adults.
We're shown to our bunk for the night. It's one of the ranch's private properties and where potential members often come to stay to try out and tour the ranch before signing up.
And then this is a queen-size bed.
But for tonight, it's home.
It's a really nice mattress.
That's
I really
not bad.
like it.
Oh, and you get a dog companion.
She's used to coming up on the bed. That's her place at night.
I take it the dog does not come with the unit.
As a retired Air Force colonel, Drew Miller has lived and breathed a life of military-level preparedness. Experience he's now turning into profit. He has 5 Fortitude compounds around the country, so he's tapping into America's culture of fear. But is it ethical?
Now, some believe that preppers have underlying mental illness, especially when we're talking about extreme preppers. Not people who make some preparations for adverse events, but those who make preparing a lifestyle, and who tend to also believe in a number of conspiracy theories. So the theory here is that mental illness leads to the preparing behavior. So there's a few possibilities when we talk about the mental health characteristics of preppers. I think one is kind of the slow-moving trauma theory. So watching the news, it makes sense that people might be afraid. So living in anticipation of a catastrophe can be traumatic. So this slow-moving trauma can lead to something like maybe post-traumatic stress disorder. Some preppers may have a mental illness, some would not. It's an understudied population, so we don't really know a lot about them. This population tends not to seek mental health counseling services, which kind of makes sense given their interest and belief in conspiracy theories. A lot of individuals who believe in conspiracy theories don't seek mental health counseling services. So again, we don't have a lot of research on this population, and we need to learn more about them to understand what's going on.
We're designed for the middle class, but still, it will cost you several $1,000s per person to join a Fortitude Ranch. if there's a bad pandemic tomorrow, H5N1, if the grid goes down, if there's a New Madrid earthquake and supply chains are gone and police can't handle all the looting and the law and order breaks down, whatever the disaster that happens, I'm going to be okay. There's a lot of things to worry about, but I know that I'm safe and my family are safe because we've got Fortitude Ranch. So it actually gives us pretty good peace of mind. It's not something we worry about.
Back in North Carolina, Johnny has his own budget-friendly underground bunker. Today, he's taking me to see it. But for security reasons, we can't reveal the exact location.
Other than a really good friend of mine, you will be the only ones who ever come down and see it.
Oh, wow. So we're gonna get in this bunker in an undisclosed location, made out of a 40-foot shipping container. And Johnny was telling us he built this for just a couple $1,000s. It's kind of impressive what you can do with a little bit of a can-do attitude. Oh my God. Man, it's a lot bigger than I thought it was gonna be. How did you possibly build this?
Well, we bought the shipping container, used of course, and I had it delivered to the house. And that's where I did all the fabrication work and building it, and then we had it hauled out here from a friend that won't say nothing. He's done a few of these before for some other people. We have our ham radio. This will be for communications with the outside world, and trying to find out what's going on and stuff like that. We have Geiger counters for radiation. Like here's some medical supplies, salt and sugar, just other items that we have. Like inside these containers here, we have lint from the dryer. Why do we have lint? Because it's a good fire starter. Right here, these terracotta pots, this right here will actually become a refrigerator. So if you bury this in the ground and put sand around it, do it up a certain way, you can actually keep fruits and berries and meats and stuff like that cold. If we actually had to come down in here for anything, I have this 1/2-inch thick plate door that slides over and latches.
Before I say goodbye to the family, I want to know their final thoughts for the future.
We believe something's going to happen. Me personally, I believe something will happen in my lifetime. The signs are all there. If you didn't think anything was going to happen, you wouldn't be prepping for it. If nothing ever happens in my lifetime, that's great. But what we've done and what we've put up, we can pass on to our kids and others so that they could have it if something did happen in their time.
In recent years, the culture of prepping has seen an uptrend due to political polarization and economic downturns. Even celebrities are getting involved. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has been constructing a 4,000 square foot underground shelter at his Hawaiian home. And Kim Kardashian, Tom Cruise, and Shaquille O'Neal are among high-profile figures who have also built bunkers or safe rooms. What was considered paranoid behavior is now being accepted as common sense.
I wanted to get into the psychology of prepping because it seems to be conflated with conspiracy theorists in some way. Like preppers, or it's the tinfoil hat brigade. It's like those type of folks who think 5G is causing COVID. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's, for whatever reason, prepping, which should be just prudence, common sense, preparing, having something that can purify your water if everything goes weird.
It's that feeling of a need for safety that I've heard repeatedly in my time with the preppers. Whether it's building your own underground bunker or turning prepping into big business, more than ever before, it seems people are taking matters into their own hands, hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst.